Networking rules have changed and top professionals don't rely on it anymore. Now, I have spoken to hundreds of hiring managers and recruiters over the past year, and I've sat on the hiring side of over 1,000 interviews. And I can tell you for sure, the candidate who networks the hardest, they almost never get hired. And the one who do, they don't send cold DMs, they don't beg for coffee chat. They do three things that most job seekers have never heard of. But before we dive in, let's understand why the old way of networking is broken. Now, for a long time, traditional networking actually worked. A solid referral made you 40 times more likely to land the job that a cold application wouldn't. A warm introduction used to mean something, but all of that has changed. Hiring managers don't want to drown in quick 15 minutes call. Even candidates are frustrated. You set up coffee chat, you keep it polite, and the second you ask about an opportunity, the whole thing feels like a transaction. So now that we know that the old playbook is not working, the question is, what has replaced it? The first tactic is niching down networking. Now the shift is brutal in its simplicity. Stop networking wide, network in a very specific niche. One role, one domain, one sector. Say you are looking for a product marketing role. Most people network like this. I'm looking for a product marketing role at a startup. Now this is too wide to mean anything. Now compare this to this new reframing or niching down. I'm looking for a product marketing role in a B2B SaaS fintech category with a PLG motion. You see the difference? The second version is so specific that when somebody hears it, they immediately think of one or two people you should speak with. And when they hear the first version, they'll probably nod politely and forget about you by lunch. You see, when you are so specific, you stop networking at random events and start showing up in the right room. A Slack group where fintech PMM actually hang out, a niche conference, the specialist community where conversation actually go deeper, faster. Now in 1973, a Stanford sociologist named Mark Granovetter published a piece of research that still holds up today. He called it the strength of weak ties. The idea is simple but counterintuitive. You see, when you need a job, your first instinct is to go to your closest people, your best friend, your current colleagues, people who genuinely want to help you, people you have close ties with. But Granovetter found that is actually the wrong move. Why? Because your close ties already know the same people you know. They move in the same circle, they hear about the same opportunity. On the other hand, your weak ties, people you have met once, an old colleague you message twice a year, a second degree LinkedIn connection, now they move around in completely different circles. They hear about things you would never find out on your own. So what does a 1973 Stanford study means for your job search in 2026? Everything. You see, when you niche down, you naturally build relationship with people in your own domain, but who are outside your inner circle. These are weak ties. The weak ties are where the real opportunity lives. I get it, when you niche down, you reduce your reach, but it dramatically improves your conversions because the referral that comes from niche weak ties carry real weight. Now, if this is making you rethink how you approach your job search, hit the subscribe button. Every week I break down hiring strategies like this as someone who has been on both sides of the table. Now, the next tactic is the one most people completely get it wrong because it flips the entire job search on its head. Instead of chasing hiring manager, you get them to come to you. I like to call it the breadcrumb strategy, and this is how it works. You leave a small piece of proof, a breadcrumb across internet that shows your expertise, and when a hiring manager or a recruiter stumbles on one, they get curious enough to click through to your profile and see the full picture of who you are. Let me give you a real example so this does not sound abstract. Say you're targeting fintech companies and one day you see a VP of marketing at a payment startup post on LinkedIn about their challenges scaling their product. Let's say you write a thoughtful comment, something like this: "We faced the exact problem at my last company. The unlock was shifting from feature-led onboarding to a value-driven onboarding in the first 48 hours. Now this over time helped us increase and scale our activation by 30%. That comment is a breadcrumb. It is specific, it shows your real experience, it demonstrates how you think. Now, you did not send a cold DM, you did not ask for a coffee chat, you showed up with value and they came to you. Now, to make this work consistently, every piece of content you create needs to be built on three core pillars. First, your authority foundation. What do you actually know? What have you done? This is the raw material. Second pillar is your content crumb. These are pieces you published, a deep dive article, a portfolio post, a short strategy breakdown, a smart comment on someone else's post. And the third, which is very important, is your distribution. Where does each piece of content go? Which platform, which community, who is it going to see this? Every post, every comment, every update is a low pressure invitation for someone to click through and discover you. And the reason it works so well, it is far easier for a recruiter to click on your profile after seeing a sharp comment or a post than to open a cold email from a stranger. When they click, they get the whole picture, who you are, what you know, what have you done, no pitch needed. Now, the third tactic is the one that I've seen separate people who job search for months from people who probably land an offer within weeks. 44% of all hires come from people who were already in a company's database. They applied before, did not get the role, they came back up when a new position opened. And then there is another report that says 70% of companies start looking internally and through their closed network before a job is even publicly posted. So the hidden job market is real, but it is not about secret jobs floating around in some invisible network. It is about being known before the opening even exists. And the good news is, if you've done the first two tactics, you've already done the hard work. You've defined your niche, you have your breadcrumbs, build your presence and authority. Now add one more layer to it. Watch for hiring signals at companies you care about, a new founding round, a VP level hire, a team expansion post on LinkedIn. These are moments when a company is growing but not yet created the formal job posting. That is your window. Now you can stay on top of this by simply setting up a Google alert for your top 10 companies that you are targeting. And when you see a signal, a funding announcement, a leadership change, a market expansion, you reach out. But not with, "Are you hiring?" That gets ignored. Instead, you send a relevant observation, or even better, a proof of work piece, a one-pager breakdown of how you would approach their current challenge. You show up exactly when they need someone like you, before anyone else even knows the role exists. That is how you tap into hidden market. So let's recap 3 tactics that replaces traditional networking. 1. Niche down, stop networking wide, start networking narrow, let your weak ties do the heavy lifting. Number 2 is leave breadcrumbs, show your value in public so hiring managers can find you. Number 3 is tap the hidden job market, watch out for hiring signals, show up before the job is even posted. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 3 you are going to try first. And if you want a step-by-step system to build your job search strategy, subscribe to the channel. I share such videos every week, and I'm going to see you in the next one.